Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm Sessions podcast. Sergio's like, all right, let's go. Round two. We to be honest, this is our second podcast of the day.
Yeah.
So
Put on a sweatshirt.
we finally
I was gonna make sure no one knows.
Dude.
Put on a hoodie, dude, or a sweatshirt to cover up my shirt underneath so people thought it was the next day.
That's fair. The
Dude,
next day. Yeah.
I'm not trying to deceive anyone. I'm just trying to be exciting.
Just it's for your good. That's it. Not for my good. It's for your good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Pour some batchy?
I reckon.
I reckon.
All right, we have a special treat on the podcast today.
I thought you were gonna say guest. I'm like, wait.
Where's the guest?
Where did they go?
Or she? Special treat. This is a coffee. This is from the Barn in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
The Barn is this. Yeah, I think the Barn, to be honest, is a third wave like they're a third wave staple.
Classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. Like when you think like early rippers, like the Barn is in there. You know, like. Yeah. Before this whole third wave thing was cool, they were
ripping.
They were ripping.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that.
Someone else in Australia too. Who am I thinking of? Some roasting companies from Australia that were ripping too in the beginning. Am I wrong?
Dude.
I'm like so quiet. I'm like
so
losing
quiet.
my voice. Sorry.
So quiet. Too quiet.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's way well past my bedtime. Drinking some batchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Barn is just such a killer staple. So when I saw this up in Vancouver, I was like, dude, I'm gonna snag a bag. So, and I happened to snag a tasty coffee, but yeah, we'll chat about it, and then I'll do the reveal later.
This gives me the best vibes. Like, I'm getting poolside vibes.
Poolside vibes?
Yeah. Like nice color. Pool blue. Some violet. Those crispy colors. Maybe that's what it is. Crispy in flavor. Mm-hmm. Like brisk green. Not green. Sorry. Yeah. The color green. Not saying the coffee is green. Yeah. The coffee's not green. Just like tasting the color green.
Yes. I wouldn't say that this is like a super powerful brew. I think there's something. I think it's just the manner, the.
Just say under extracted it.
No. I don't think it's under or over. I think it's just like sometimes just batch brews don't get everything. I have nothing. So batch brews are great. Listen, batchies are powerful. They're next level.
It's the cone.
It's just sometimes you're just not getting all the nuance. Like on the cupping table, this thing was booming. So
there's some florality to it that makes me think of like the color violet, purple, like light purple, not stone fruit plum purple.
It's great. I'm not gonna. I mean the tactile, the textures, the flavor is really great. It's just not as great as the cupping. That's what I'm comparing it to. But it's excellent. I mean, this is a solid. I think it's a Colombian geisha. I think washed geisha.
Yeah, I'm picking up some muscadine on it.
I don't know,
like muscadine grape. It's nice.
Actually, it's kind of.
Did not pick any of that up.
What did
I was so off. Strawberry, black tea, textured.
Textured, wow.
Like textured milk, like textured concrete, like textured couch. I don't know. What kind of texture?
That's fair.
When was textured a flavor note? Or that's a flavor experience or drinking experience maybe.
Yeah. That's I to be honest, what am I trying to say? It's kind of reminding me of another coffee surge that we actually bought and roasted it already. And so I brewed it today on filter. Actually, I need to go take back some of the things that I told you on the last cupping after brewing it today. That made me second think some of the things. Anyways, that all being said, stellar coffee. I think it's great. It's solid. The bar, killer.
I mean, now, logistically speaking, like pretend this is a meeting for a minute. Did you update Cropster with those new news?
Why?
Because we wrote notes on Cropster, so we can next time we roast that coffee, if we're talking about the same coffee.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did put
Solid.
notes on there.
We're good.
But we need to change those notes, I think, after I... But anyways.
Okay, well. That hit like strawberry. Maybe I just got... That hit like strawberry a lot. I was getting more florality. Now I'm getting like strawberry. Maybe it's my mind. Brains are weird.
Yeah.
Quote that from the Mirror Coffee Roaster warm-up sessions.
What?
Brains are weird.
Brains are weird.
Wow.
Okay, well, folks, honestly, we just wanted to talk about this. What flew into my mind, I was like, "Man, this might be an interesting convo to have." But a couple, like looking at some top 3 things that we can break down that are gonna be like whether it's a trend or not a trend in coffee, because there's a lot of things going on in the industry. It feels like it's booming, blooming. Lots of whack stuff, like lots of things are just changing, so to speak. So, but first off, what do you think about coffee gear?
Not that again. Oh, man. I have a lot of thoughts.
Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Do you think the speed and the volume of which things like coffee grinders, espresso machines, how much and how fast they're being released and pumped out, and small little gadgets, do you think that this is just a period of time?
Yeah.
Do you think literally for the next like 10 years, every year we're going to have like 15 new grinders come out? What's your take on that?
Direct example. The recent drop of... What? Very specific direct example. Just roll with me. The recent drop of grinders, what are they, Timor? What are they called? The new ones. Are they Timors?
Yeah.
The recent ones,
yes,
that everyone, Kyle reviewed, Lance reviewed, the debacle around those grinders, all of the chaos.
Yeah.
I avoided it like the plague.
Why?
I did not watch a single YouTube video.
I watched every single one.
I did not watch a single one. I only watched the little clips that my friends posted. Well, friends as in Kyle and Lance. That's it. The clips on Instagram, I did not watch. Sorry, guys. Like, I did not watch your videos. I'm being honest. Maybe I should. But the problem... I mean, geez, it's well past my bedtime. This is hot and spicy coffee roaster warm-up session. Roasting some dark roast right now. No, not because I'm against it. I need an espresso grinder actually desperately. I'm tired of hand grinding all of my, espresso.
Right.
But I'm just so overwhelmed with the gear talk that I think personally I'm like, I need to take a break. I think the last time I watched something was the Opus.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it, so I turned it off.
You're not picking up an Opus?
Can I be very honest right now?
No, dude.
I kind of want to pick up an Opus actually.
No. Okay, nothing bad, folks. This is not a
simply because it's not gonna break my bank.
Fair.
That's why. And I'm like, what's the loss? Like, if I don't like it, I'm gonna donate it.
I mean,
like, if
the
I
$200 that it cost you,
$200 is better than buying. Like, my ode is at this point with all the mods I put on, it cost me $500.
It's true.
I'm not donating my ode to anyone right now.
Why doesn't your ode brew
espresso? That's Lance's answer, not mine. I'm not Lance.
Dude, I think this is where my mind goes. Is that stuff for me, like, maybe it's more more practical or applicable to somebody who doesn't have a grinder, or to somebody who doesn't have an EK in their office? Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
It's because I'm like, okay, listen, I have an EK. Like, it's not mine, but I don't brew coffee at home anymore because usually I wake up within an hour, I'm at the office.
Yeah.
And guess what? I can use the EK. Yeah. Great. You know, that's but
you have a Forte like literally in your kitchen now.
I do. Yeah, the Forte is also amazing, just in case that does happen. I actually used it today for a batch brew, but
yeah.
But that being said, like maybe that's why, like, I don't feel the need to have to keep up with it, or feel the need to feel like I'm what am I looking for? Like incentivized to buy it, because I'm like, I already have the EK. Like, I don't know what more I could get, where I feel like it would make sense for somebody who maybe has a grinder in that price range, but is looking for that extra bit, or looking to, nerd out about something else. Like another piece of gear, which I get all of that. Like, I'm that way with camera gear sometimes, like I'm that with, now I'm getting into other weird, like, side things that I nerd out about. Like, I watched like 50 Tesla Model Y reviews, like, of walkthroughs. I'm like, why am I watching this? This is dumb. But I'm like, so I get it. I get it. My other thing is, I think it might be, personally, a part of me says it's a trend. And personally, I think it might be here to stay, because of how fast this industry is growing and how much it's becoming a normal thing to have in your house. And the reason why I think it's also a trend is, I'm curious, like, man, seeing the business side of things, I'm like, these are high-end grinders. You have to get people to buy them. The cost of goods on one of those is more than a coffee bag, I'll tell you that.
Right.
I'm curious, like, how's that sustainable?
Yeah.
Especially when a lot of these grinders people are buying, I mean, that might actually be to a certain extent good, that people are buying, just rotating them.
Right.
But I'm like, Niche came out with their Niche Zero. It got a lot of hype and then died down. And then now they released a Niche, the 80 or the 85. Excuse me, the Niche Duo, I think they're calling it now. That has a bigger burst in there. And I'm like, cool, there might be more hype on it. People might jump on it, but then it dies down. And now what? Like, for a business, I'm like, I get how those things function. I'm like, I don't know if that's really helpful. Like, how is that sustainable long-term for a coffee brand? And so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe the economics might not make this as long-lasting as I think. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Those are literally unfiltered thoughts that I don't have an answer to, but I'm leaning towards, like, this might be a trend, and I think it might slow down. And then maybe the brands that do keep up with it will see some really great stuff, because they're going to be innovating on really great feedback from the community.
Yeah. Here, listen to this. We talked about the Opus just a minute ago, right? When it comes to a brand that, exactly what you're talking about, seems to be, from the outside looking in, I don't work for Fellow, so I don't know. Or I shot photos for Fellow, but I don't know. I don't work for them exclusively. They have been crushing it on gear. I mean, I just recommended a French press from Fellow. Why? No one needs a new French press. Like, you don't need to create, a French press is a French press. It does the same thing, whether it's this or that. There's some perks, maybe Fellows keeps heat better, blah, blah. Anyway, for the most part, it's the same thing. No one needs another dripper, this and that. But for some reason, Fellow has been, like, crushing the gear game. And you know what's wild? We talked about this, is the fact that, and this is in context of what you're talking about, like sustainability, being able to create a product or a new product, and is that sustainable long term? So keep that context in mind. We talked about Carter mugs. Like, no one needs 4, 5, 6 different versions of Carter mugs, but they keep selling, even to the point where when WWDC did their merch and did their launch, who did they do it with? Fellow. And I think there's something to say about business models like that they can release an opus. It will hit a certain demographic. It will sell. It may not sell like the Ode, but they will release a grinder that's a little better than the Ode Gen 2, or they have the space to do that. And I don't think the home barista industry is shrinking.
Yeah.
So there is going to be someone that's ready to upgrade a grinder. Maybe not right now, but in a year exactly when Ode Gen 3 comes out.
Yeah.
So it's not like they need the newest. It's not exactly. I think Fellow is very similar to how Apple updates the iPhone. Like I see similarities and parallels there. No one needs the new iPhone, but the way our contract system is based, every 2 years you have the option to get a new one. So why not get the newest release? And I think a lot of the times, because the home brewer community is growing, and I'm experiencing that from a cafe point of view, the way people are buying bags, the way they're talking about it, there's room for that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then on top of that, I think there's brands like, is it Meticulous? The one that launched the espresso machine. A lot of hype at SCA. It's awesome. It's amazing. Their Kickstarter was out the roof.
Yeah.
Blew up. So I don't know if a new brand like that, they could definitely develop their program, release more machines. Yeah. But that standalone to me is like success.
Yeah.
Like that, you crushed it with what you released right there. There's going to be mods for sure. There's going to be X-Bloom. That's another one. Yeah. Like, I'm very curious in how new products like that are similar yet distinct and very different. I mean, X-Bloom has a built-in grinder. And I don't know if anyone has anyone talked about the birds on that grinder or what? I mean, Caleb Schwartzy, if he's listening to the podcast, he works for them. Chime in the comments there. I want to know. But stuff like that I'm like, okay, I think there's room for that. Will I buy all of that gear? No. I can't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm torn. But final verdict, is it here to stay? Or
New
is
gear?
It a trend? New gear at this volume, at this speed?
It's here to stay.
I'd guess I think I'm leaning towards it's a trend, but we'll see. I don't know. Now I'm torn after hearing that.
Fire.
The geisha's cutting through or what?
Yeah.
All right. That being said.
One fun question with gear before we move on, unless we're not moving on.
I mean, we have...
Before I don't know what you're going to ask. It's not scripted, so I don't know. I got to say, best photo of someone's setup. Quick, rapid fire. Best favorite setup photo that you've seen recently.
Ah, man.
Rapid fire. First one comes to mind.
I don't know.
Best setup.
Listen, not recently, but my first thought was Chris and Drago.
Okay. Sick.
I think their photos are pretty.
Are you talking about photos or the setup?
The photos of their setup.
Oh, maybe I need to rephrase the question.
Best setup?
Best setup. The photo you've seen of someone's setup. Dang. Like, because you don't get to travel to everyone's home. Yeah. But yeah, definitely Chris and Drago. Drago's videos
Chris has a wild setup. I'll give him that. Yeah. I like the simplicity of Journey's setup.
Oh yeah, totally.
But yeah, what about you?
Brian. X-Bloom Brian.
Oh, Brian, yeah.
The monolith.
Dude, yeah. That's nuts. It's nuts.
The whole setup looks like it belongs on Mars. I'm like, come on, guy. Like, it's epic. I love it.
If somebody's saving humanity with their brewing, it's you.
It's you. Let's go. Powerful. Oh, man. All right, go ahead. Next. What are we talking? All right.
This is a spicy one.
Ooh.
But we only really have time for, I guess, 2. So that's, I think this is going to take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Listen, experimental processing.
Ooh, man. Koji,
inoculation, culturation, fermentation, infusing, washing, but mostly on the experimental side.
Oh man, I don't like quote unquote flavored coffees.
Okay.
So that's that. I
That's
probably
spicy.
won't buy one.
That's spicy.
Yeah, it is spicy. Yeah, I probably won't buy one. I don't know, something. I have to have a heart change to be able to embrace those coffees. I'm not on board, unfortunately.
Do you think it's a trend or is it here to stay? And why?
Oh man, way too many ways to answer this question. Depends on the perspective. It's almost like you can't put the toothpaste back in the container.
So you think it's here to stay?
I'm here to say, but I also think it's like, once the toothpaste is out and doesn't get on your toothbrush, you might need to flush it down. So that's another way of getting rid of it. So I don't think it's here to disappear in a sense like we're going to undo what's already been done.
Right.
We already know way too much.
Okay, fair.
So I think there's going to be some changes within those methods. I think those methods are good from the perspective of science and understanding processing, understanding how all of the things work. I think for knowledge, it's great. But I don't think tasty wash coffees are going anywhere. So, what I mean by that is all this experimental stuff isn't going to replace wash coffees. Thoughts? Is this a wash or experimental?
I think it's a washed. Is it? I think so. Tastes like a washed. I'd be shocked if this was a natural.
Oh. All right. So this goes exactly with what you're talking about.
What is it?
So it's a washed anaerobic. So how far do you take that? Yeah. So how far do you take that? So you and I have been drinking way more washed anaerobic coffees, or like a double washed, or like not classic washed. So is that experimental?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think just experimental in general, like more intense experimental. I still think like an anaerobic washed is still like it's kind of like mildly experimental. Like you're definitely trying new things, but you're also holding to washed. And it's actually this, like when I bought it, I knew it was washed anaerobic. Drinking this for the last week, I completely forgot.
Right.
So I think there's something to say for that.
Yeah.
That being said, before you answered, I was going to be like, it's definitely a trend. It's going to come and it's going to go. The pendulum is going to swing. We swung too hard to the experimental. I think it's going to come back. Just like I think there's other roasting trends that are now coming back, which we talked about. But after you said that, I think there was some truth to you saying once you open it, it's like, Pandora's box, or when the genie gets out of the bottle, like there's no putting it back in there. It's out. But I think it's here to stay, like what you're saying, but I think it's also a trend, borderline, I think it's here to stay for a specific demographic and a specific subsection of coffee that enjoys those coffees. And listen, I'm not the one, once again, to tell you what you need to drink.
Yeah.
If that's what you like, it's not my preference, I'm not gonna, just like I don't look down on people for drinking, Tim Hortons, whatever. If that's if that's your jive, please. I mean, please, there's probably better stuff out there that you might enjoy, but sure. Yeah. What I'm saying is there's a place for them. And I think right now it's big and it's overwhelming and it's umbrella, but I think it's going to simmer down to those specific people that enjoy those coffees.
Yeah.
And I think actually the pendulum is going to swing back to where we're going to be interested in some more like wash coffees, cleaner coffees. But I think like all things, like I think this is part of actually the enthusiasm, like home barista. There's pendulums to everything, I think. Because why? Is because our curiosity takes us kind of like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it's not a bad thing. It's more like, okay, wash coffees are great. They're phenomenal. and then you're like, ooh, I wonder if we can tinker with something. And then we get curious. We start going there. We're inching towards there. We find some cool new things and we're excited about it. And then we've drank so much of it that we're like, wait a second, I think we should tinker here. Yeah. And it happens to be back. So not say that one is good or bad. There's preferences for sure. I think it's a trend to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. But
fair. Yeah. I guess from that perspective, I'd also say, yeah, it's definitely something that's hot right now, something that's popular right now. I think the conversations are very interesting around it, especially from competition. It's like we've had that conversation with Kazaya about competition and coffees. And before that, we were talking with Alex about competition and coffees and what's okay, what's not okay, where do you draw the line, and all of that. So I think I'm curious to see how that develops, whether that's going to be here to stay or here to go. So I don't know. To me, that's a much harder question than general consumer drinking coffee, because there are a set of rules in competition and you are playing a game. And if those rules change, then you have to really ask yourself, like, okay, where are we headed? And why are we changing these rules? And is the whole industry changing? So we basically have to re-ask the questions, which isn't bad. That's why I'm like, I don't know. So from that perspective, I'm kind of torn.
Yes, I think there's a lot of spicy conversation happening around this topic. And once again, we're not here to give answers. We're not here to, draw a line in the sand. Mm-hmm. This is just stuff that, we're bouncing back and forth. And it's interesting. It's interesting to entertain the thoughts and kind of push back and forth and stuff like that. What do you think? Last one, let's keep this in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. What do you think? New coffee roasters launching.
Like new coffee roaster, like new coffee companies launching?
Yes.
Or new coffee roasting machines launching?
New coffee companies.
New coffees from roasters launching.
No, new roasters launching. Because I feel like for some time it was just like a new roaster or a new cafe launching all the time.
Oh, in a nutshell, my first thought is like the more the merrier.
Yeah.
The way I see things, I'm not driven by this idea of like, I got to fight my next competitor. Mm-hmm. You and I always talk about staying in our own lane. That's not because we ignore the competitor or we ignore, no, we see it.
For sure.
But I think we also embrace it. We say, hey, yeah, you should launch. We just had a cafe in Bellingham open today. New one. We have a grand opening of another one next week.
It's true.
So like, sick. I want more of that. Let's do it. We are doing something different. Now, that's where the other side of the coin is. I am tired. Such a hot take, man. I was scared to do this episode for this reason. Yeah. I am tired of seeing the same coffees, the same origins, the same farmers, the same producers from a million different roasters. I'm tired of that.
That's a spicy take. Oh my gosh.
Because there's certain producers. I can't believe
you just pulled that out.
Yeah. Oh. I'm tired of that. I mean, do I still? Actually, I don't buy them sometimes. No, I don't buy them. I have not bought them. Because there's certain producers, not dropping any names, that I affiliate with certain roasting companies. And when it comes to enjoying that producer, I usually stick to that roasting company. That's me. Maybe I'm a jerk.
Hey, to be honest, I'll still buy Diego until the day I die. That's probably not who you're thinking about, or I don't know. But I'm saying more like, I'm seeing him everywhere. But I'm like, dude, Diego's got something on him that, yeah.
I mean, it used to be when you bought a Diego coffee, you thought of one or maybe two roasting companies. One.
Yeah. Which there's nothing wrong
for
with sustainability.
Fine.
Yeah. It just, fine. Yeah.
I'm just kind of tired of
that's a hot, wow, dude, that's a spicy take. I didn't think you were going to take it there. Wow. Well, I think, back to new coffee companies. I think, yeah, I love that you put that we're not worried about competition. At the end of the day, if you're a good operator, you'll win. If you suck, you won't win. That's just the treacherous truth of running any business in general. Whether you're a creative, whether you're, working in marketing, in food, or whatever it is. If you're good at it, you'll do fine. If you're not good at it, then you won't do fine.
And there's an audience for you.
Yes.
They're there.
Yes. And I think for us, it's like, how do you stay in your own lane? How do you keep doing what you're doing? In general, is it a trend or not? I don't think it's a trend. I think it's here to stay. I think we're only going to see more coffee companies, more delicious coffees, more roasters, more cafes. It's only gaining more and more traction, culturally wise. I mean, people are learning more and more about, especially specialty coffee. Like, it's becoming a phenomena. I don't think it's going anywhere. Yeah. It might look a little different in 10 years, but, and I love that. I love it. Honestly, like you said, exactly. If we could have more roasters and more cafes, please. I mean, I want to indulge as much as possible.
And I think the cool thing is, with all of these new roasting companies that are popping up, they're doing great things. Majority of the ones that we've seen pop up are very transparent and have sustainability in mind. They're elevating the producer. They're talking about the good things that need to be spoken about.
Yes.
They're doing the good deeds.
Yes.
So I can't say no to that.
For sure.
So I want more of that. So I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yes.
So I'm not worried about more companies. I'm just personally getting tired of drinking the same producer from 10 different roasting companies. So that's just me. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I think that's actually, that'd be fun to do a whole episode for specifically that, and what that looks like and what our approach is. But that being said, I think, just to shout out, September Coffee, love it. They just launched. Everybody knows Kyle Roselle. We had him on the podcast. If you want to listen to that podcast, please do. It's a phenomenal episode. He just launched. I mean, coffee companies like Prodigal.
Yeah.
I mean, don't want to state the obvious, but literally just launched. Phenomenal. Please, more of that. Sign me up. Christopher Farron is starting his own side coffee project. To be honest, I don't know him. I know him enough to know that he's really smart and intelligent and has a unique perspective on things. Anything else, I don't know, but I'm excited about it. I'm very curious what he's going to bring to the table. Those are just a few New York coffee companies that I'm seeing, and I'm like, please, yes.
Yeah, totally. 100% agree there. When we did that episode in the beginning of the year about, hey, these are going to be probably prediction my favorite roasting company.
Right, yeah.
I still agree with that. I mean, fact check me. It's on the episode. Go back and listen to it. But I believe I said Prodigal. And I still hold to that. We drink Prodigal regularly. Revolver, less than an hour away from here, is serving Prodigal. Still, they hold up. So I'm saying more of that.
More. We need double portion.
Portion. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. But hold on. Can I do a very quick one, please? Don't cut it. No, I got a very good one. We just need to tackle this issue right here and just say, are collaborations here to stay, or are they going to go?
What do you mean by collaborations?
I didn't want to say just influencer collaborations, but we see a lot of musicians launching coffees with coffee companies.
Oh, dude.
We're seeing.
We need to do a whole episode with The Weeknd and Blue Bottles collab. Oh gosh, this needs to be a whole episode on its own. It's that good.
So I just discovered another band that just launched their own coffee line. I was like, what the? I've listened to these folks for a while, and now they have a coffee line.
I don't know if this is a trend or not. I don't want it to be a trend. I want it to be here. I want it to be here forever. And I would love to ride this bandwagon as far as
more
it goes.
Limited merch, more all of that. Yeah.
Gosh, yes.
All right. Oh, man. That's settled.
The Weeknd's drop with Blue Bottle made me so happy. It's so fire.
So the video content was great.
The execution was. Oh man, that's good. That's good.
All right.
Alrighty.
We'll figure that one out quick.
Yep. Well, folks, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm Sessions podcast. If you listen to this and you made it this far, listen, we'd love to hear from you. Drop down in the comments below. Let's get spicy, folks. Let's get spicy. Do you disagree with me or Sergi? Just drop it. Like, no sugarcoating. Just say, listen, I think you're wrong. I don't think this was a trend. I think it's here to stay, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, we want to hear it.
Roast me.
Woo-wee. There it is, folks. Well, thank you for listening to another episode. Friends, that's about it. That's a wrap. As we always say, reflect what's good.